So we have seen how does object creation and object initialization can be performed. So always remember one thing, never compare that C, Java and Python. So Python is better than C and Java. No, because generally when you go for object-oriented programming systems or approaches, it involves creation of classes and objects, obviously. Sometimes it makes programs very lengthy because when you go for Java, you create everything inside a class and where you have public class, private class and everything, right? So the program execution takes time depending on the approach. But it's not that sometimes C programs execute much faster than Java programs also. It only depends upon the kind of approach we take. But obviously, whenever ever compare anything like procedure oriented approach and object oriented approach, it depends on the necessity because necessity is the mother of invention, right? Yes, so obviously when object oriented programming approaches where we try to make sure that we create like objects, but in Java you need to create everything in the format of classes and you assign multiple objects, you create objects to those classes. But what does Python do? Python will never ever allow the programmers to write completely in object oriented programming way only. We can bind both the principles. We can take a procedure oriented approach, we can also take object oriented programming approach. We mix up both of them. That's where the beauty of Python is. That is the reason it binds both the approaches. But in real cases, let me show you one simple example. When I go to Python shell and I'll open the default module. So how do you open your default modules or packages? Go to Python root location, check libraries. You have all the folders or packages and you see, let me open a calendar module which we have already discussed. This is the calendar module. Import says date time. That's what we have already seen. This is a list of all some strings which we have passed. You see, your class name is illegal month error and the object we are passing is value error. So what is he declaring? So he is declaring a constructor which the first argument is always self. In place of self, we can pass any other variable. But self is like address. Whatever method we call using an object, address of that object will be passed directly to the method implicitly. So that address is collected by self. So always we refer with self only. So below the constructor we can have any number of methods. This is the Python default string method where we access only with self. That is the reason when we pass the month greater than 13, what it told you? So it is a bad range. So always everything in Python, you can have classes and you can have functions. If you have function inside a class, that is a method, you see, constructor and the get item length, and you again have leap functions, right? Is leap function. That's how Python gives you both flexibilities. You need not worry, and even you need not make the class name as capital letter. You see, even we start with underscore, right? Now it's the time for us to understand the importance of underscores, because even in Python you can create a variable name also with underscore, right? That's where the importance of underscore plays a very wide usage in Python. So that's my intention to give you the importance of underscores and dundas. When I say dundas, that is double underscore. That is very important because it is termed as dunder by Python community. So you take first D and you take in underscore you take under. So mix D plus under it is dunder. So let's understand about the dunders, double underscores or dunders. So we'll take 5 possibilities. What are the 5 possibilities we can take? First one is single leading underscore. We'll understand about each one of them. Single leading underscore. Single leading underscore. The second approach is single trailing underscore. Before going into single leading underscore, why can't we have only single underscore? Why it is leading or trailing? Because when I say leading, it is beginning, right? So let's make it into direct way. I'll make this as caps. Yeah. So single underscore. When we say single underscore, it looks in this way. Because you just need to understand how does this underscores play a vital role. It's hyphen. This is underscore. Okay. So single underscore. And the next one is single leading underscore. That means you keep underscore before of a variable, and then single trailing underscore. For everything we have some difference. So that is where Python gives you so many advantages. That's where it offers hands for everything. Even if you want to go for testing field, you have packages in Python. If you want to go for AI field, you have packages in Python. For big data, we have PySpark. We have for DevOps, we have MLOps and so many things coming up. It only depends on how do we use it. So that is the reason I always suggest, from my experience, if you are good at writing functions, it's done in Python. You need not worry about it. So always be good at writing logics. That's it. So double leading underscore, you just write, that is dunder. So double leading underscore. The final one is double leading and trailing underscore. That's important. Where we have seen the special methods, all special methods with double leading and trailing underscore. That is the reason my intention is to make you understand how does each one of them differs. Okay. So first let's go for single underscore. Let me just copy this and paste it here, because generally single underscores play a very vital role. And when do you use them? Because if we wanted to just represent the last expression, or if you wanted to just make it a very simple expression, even you can use it as a variable name or function name or anything. That is something like sometimes used as a name for temporary or insignificant variables where we don't care them. Suppose if I write in this way, for we generally write I, right? That is the reason I told I, but I don't want to care it. I just give for underscore in range of 10. You can do in this way, it's correct also. Just print off, what do you give? Underscore. You just save it and you execute it. You know the result, right? Obviously you get from 0 to 9. There is nothing wrong in that, because we generally use underscore when we just try to make sure, when even we don't care for it. Or even you can also combine two variables like this. Saket, I'll just write my name, underscore ready is equal to 25. If I want to print that, I just give in this way, print of Saket underscore ready. Because if you want to combine two variables, you cannot give space, right? But you can directly go for giving underscore in between them. What happens if you give space? You know the thing, right? Because space is also a character in Python, you will be thrown an error. Obviously, because it's a scripting, right? So you use single underscore just to make sure that you don't worry about the syntaxes and everything. So that is the importance of single underscore. Always make it simple. The next thing is, how do we use this single leading underscore? This is also where this is mainly very important when you just try to understand the naming conventions indicate where we don't need to, Python doesn't ever enforce you, because generally it is not enforced. When you go for Java, public class, private class. So here naming convention, only for naming convention, we just specialize it, that's it. So for that reason, I'll create a class and I'll tell you naming convention indicating a name is meant for internal use. Naming convention indicating for internal use, where Python interpreter doesn't throw you. Your Python interpreter never ever force you. Where Python interpreter will never force us to use it, unless in C or unless in C++ or Java. In Python interpreter, it never ever allows you, right? It meant only for the hint for the programmers. That means you are making it for internally. So for that, what I do is I just create a simple class and make you understand how do you access the method variables in it, even by using underscore also. So for that, I just create a class called as test. And as I told you, this is simple demo. I write docstring. Even if I don't write docstring for any of the class or method, you just keep on practicing it. So I define my special method double underscore in it, because I'll tell you the importance of double underscore also, whether it is leading or trailing. The first argument is self. You can pass any other argument, it's up to you. So I just give self dot, the first variable is foo, and I'm passing some value as 11. Why can't I give underscore? That is leading underscore, right? So in place of bar directly, I'm just giving it as underscore bar. So what do? You create an object. So you create an object that is t is equal to test, and directly you give print of directory of t. You should expect both of foo and bar, right? Obviously, underscore bar and foo. There is nothing wrong in that. You get both of them. So by writing underscore, your Python interpreter is not preventing to reach into the class, right? It is directly giving the result. There is nothing wrong in writing underscore, because Python interpreter is not forcing you to do that. It's your interest whether you do it or not, right? So when you write leading underscore, it is only for naming convention by specially mentioning for the users. This is the second point. That is single leading underscore. Always remember, when you use single leading underscore, you write on your own. But when you go for single trailing underscore, when I say trailing, that means it is like this. When I say trailing underscore, you write underscore afterwards the variable name. This is very, very important, because when you write single trailing underscore, that's where changes do come into picture, because it is used by convention to avoid naming conflicts. To avoid the naming conflicts only, we use it. Suppose you can write like this: define my function name is display, and I wanted to pass some argument called as a comma. If you try to give class, will it happen? Just think. I'm just writing pass. Just save and execute. It will throw an error. Why? Because class is a keyword, right? How can you use a keyword directly over there? It will never ever allow you. That is invalid syntax. So you can use underscore over there. When you write an argument, you can directly give underscore over there. Now the color is into black color. That's why you can avoid the naming conflicts when you use trailing underscore. So save and execute. You gave pass, nothing will be executed, because it's just a simple function I am defining. So you use single trailing underscore to avoid the naming conflicts. That is very, very important. So it's just whether you use single leading or trailing, anything, but when you use single leading underscore, when you pass the variables like foo, bar, in the above example, you are giving hint for the programmers. So it will never ever make sure that it causes any disturbance. It will directly call them. Now comes a very interesting concept of creating double leading underscore, which are called as dunders. Double leading underscore or dunder, because it is generally given by Python community. That's where Python community is wide and people do so much fun with that, right? So it is called as dunder. When I say double underscore, that is dunder. The name is given by the Python community, who are very wide into Python. That is, Pythonistas are the people, they are called with that name, right? So what happens when you use double leading underscore? That's where Python will go for name mangling. It triggers name mangling. That means it keeps them as safe when we use in a class context. Let me make it with an example. It will be easy for you when you go for understanding the example, right? So we'll just go for understanding double leading underscore, because when we give double leading underscore, Python will treat them as special variables, where it will not make sure it protects the variables from getting overridden in the subclasses. It is some confusing, right? No need to worry. I'll just create a class and make it different for you. So my class is same test, and I create the doc string as demo. And what do I do is I write same self.foo is equal to same by example as 11, and I write again single underscore bar is equal to 15. But now I'll just define a different thing when I go for double underscore. So double underscore bas is equal to 25. Okay, we create an object that is t equal to test, right? Initialize you are declaring the class, and now what do? Just print the directory. You are expecting directly when I gave the underscore bar, you got underscore bar. Sorry, when you go for double underscore bas, you are expecting the same variable, right? Okay, let's see whether we get or not. Self is not defined. Why? Because the first thing you have done here, where is your Where is your method? That's a very bloody wrong thing, right? So I'm just trying to make you test how do you react to that, okay? So just make sure, always be careful when you write self, it will be making as an address. That is the reason, always learn from the errors only. You need not worry. Because without giving self, how do you access them? Right? That's the importance of writing the method. Even without writing constructor, you can do it. So when I execute this, you see the first thing you got foo, it's fine, underscore bar. But where is underscore bash? You see, double underscore bash. Wow, what happened to it? We got it as underscore test double underscore bash. It's not directly seen, right? That means when I give t dot, I can directly get foo. It's fine. Even I get t dot underscore bar, I'll get that. When I go for t dot double underscore bash, you get attribute error, because Python is not treating that as a double underscore bash as a same variable. It is doing name mangling. It wanted to protect the variable from getting overridden. So that is the reason you need to access them with the class, because your class name is test and you access them with the class name. That's where the importance of double underscore is. Because whenever you go for creating double underscore, your Python interpreter is understanding that it is protecting those special variables. That is the reason every special variable is with double underscore only. So it is doing name mangling. That means it does to protect. Always it will be called with the class name only. Along with the class name, you get the variable. It does to protect the variable from getting overridden. That is very, very important. I just made a very silly mistake without defining the methods. So always remember, you don't just blindly write the code which I gave you. You just try to understand the logic and make sure that you write your own ways. That's where you run the logic, right? So whenever you go for double leading underscore, these are read as special variables to protect them from being overridden. That's the importance of double leading underscore. And the final thing is double leading and trailing underscores, right? That is double leading and trailing underscore. That means it looks like this, double and leading underscore. That's where we have seen all the special methods in the same way. So when we use this double leading and trailing underscores, that means it indicates special methods defined by the Python variable. It indicates special methods. That's what on double underscore init, double underscore add, all of them. It indicates special methods. You need not directly use them. You use plus, Python will read as double underscore add, double underscore. That's what I told you when we worked on some simple string concatenation. Define special methods defined by Python language. So you just need to make sure that you avoid this naming scheme for your own attributes. Don't try to do this. Avoid this for your own attributes, because Python will just make sure. That's where we see operator overloading and all those concepts come into picture. So just try to avoid them. It is very much better for us. So even you try to create a variable, but make sure don't use the special methods in it or add methods in that way, because generally when I go for any methods like this, right? Suppose I can add two strings in this way, right? A plus yes. The same way, when you give dot, you also have double underscore add method. It will do the same thing, because Python will do that logic, because when you go for directory of any string, see, these are all special methods, add and all these methods. We have worked on so many methods of strings. The same way, when you go for directory of any list, what do you get? We worked on append, clear, sort, reverse, right? You have add method, the same, length, less than, multiply. These are all Python special methods. You need not worry about them. Python will use them. It will directly access them. So even when you create double leading and trailing underscore, we can directly access the method. There is nothing wrong over there. Name angling is not applied over there. I'll prove it. So for that, I just define my class prefix and postfix of. I just don't declare any object over there. I'll just make it as demo, and now I need to declare a method. Without declaring method, how do you access it? In the above example, I made you to test, right? So double underscore init. So pass self, and I'm just giving self dot double underscore bar double underscore. I'm just giving some number 25. So what do? You can directly, how do you directly access them? Just save this, or you give t is equal to prefix postfix. That's our class, right? We are just initialized to an object. Save and execute this. As a directory of t. There you go. You got directly double underscore bar double underscore. There is no name angling applied. But when you go for only leading double underscore, we have seen name angling. That's where Python treats in a different way. So when you go for double leading and trailing underscore, it's nothing. There is no name angling being applied because variables surrounded by double underscore, prefix and postfix are left unreadable. That's where Python makes sure that we use double underscore init, double underscore add, double underscore. Those are special methods. Python uses it. But when you use your own methods, it is fine. But when you try to use them, you cannot directly use them. That's where we have the concept of operator overloading, which will work in detail. But make sure that when you use this double underscore leading and trailing, there is nothing being harm applied. But when you go for double leading underscore, name angling applies. It is used to protect the variable. So when you want to protect the variables and make sure that they are accessed only with a specific method, use it. So that is how the importance of underscore plays a very vital role. So just keep on practicing. We have seen all the possibilities. Make sure you use it in a particular cause.